campaigning can be, as it should be. What I mean is you can create 3 paths. People who are interested in yoga for, let's say, health and fitness, people that were looking to do it because perhaps one day they wish to be an instructor, and then there's that other kind of general fad sort of audience that are just, they want to be a part of the movement because right now it's extremely fashionable, it's a trendy activity to partake in. If you're aware of those categories, you can target emails to them and target drip method communication that will speak their language. Also, beyond that, you can track how they heard of you and use that as another way to target further. So if they heard of you through a referral versus if they heard of you through an online ad versus if they heard of you through some type of event you did publicly, these things, again, kind of shape up a different target. So by tracking the big 3 info we spoke of earlier, you can now target the emails to go to these people based on what their interest levels are and how they heard of you. Doing just general emails is great, but again, you might just be wasting your time because you're not speaking anybody's language, and now you're really just polluting their inbox with another offer, and I'm sure they don't have enough of those already. Outbound, okay, so outbound messages, what would we put in these emails? I really want to express this to you. Mix it up, guys. It has to vary. So here's some examples. Interesting articles about the benefits of yoga. A video or a photo series of a basic stretch you can do at home, or at work. If you do this 3 times a day, you'll have better blood circulation, more energy, you'll have less of a desire to drink coffee, etc. So educate them. Just providing a little article or a tip. I prefer a video or a photo series like a kind of a comic strip. That kind of thing will always get open and always get reviewed because you're providing them with quality content and you're not trying to sell them something. Also, one thing I really recommend is doing something like a little email that says changes happening to people in your area. Not every student will want to put a photo up and share their story, but there are many that will. So get in the habit of building a depository of little case studies of students that talk about what their what their original inhibitions were about trying yoga. I was scared to try yoga because I wasn't sure I wanted to be in a room that was extremely hot, but I found I was able to bear it. I was interested in trying yoga because I wanted to garner better flexibility, but I was afraid of being embarrassed in my first class. Something like that, having different people that others that can connect with in these emails featured as case studies, talking about how after a few lessons they started to feel better about themselves, their flexibility improved and so forth, really does a great job in creating interest. And also there's a potential possibility that the people you feature in these little case studies is someone that the person on the lead list might know. One last point on this is, what's the most popular form of television right now? Reality television. And the reason why is because people can connect with the characters because they're real. So use that information and garner that into your marketing strategy. Personal style check-ins. So once in a while, a little email that just says, hello, first name, just wanted to see how you're doing. Have you started any new activities lately? Are you still interested in maybe trying a yoga class? That's it. Just something very short and sweet. Invites to special events. Once in a while, you might renovate your studio. You might do something different to it and do a little wine and cheese party on a Friday. Or you might do a special event where you're inviting everybody to bring a buddy down and do a buddy class and something to that event. So you can invite these people to special events. I don't recommend, every 3 weeks sending them an email saying, try a yoga class, try a yoga class. Again, you're just going to annoy people. But if you do have a special event that warrants inviting people to it, make sure that you invite the leads that aren't signed up as well. What is the frequency? I recommend bi-weekly or monthly, depending on how much interesting content you feel you can put together. If you don't feel you can put together a lot of content, there's no need to put the pressure on yourself to do that. Move it back monthly. It's better than doing nothing, right? You can even do it bi-monthly if you want to. But the key clarifying point that will essentially direct you in which way to do your frequency should be how often can you provide quality content, so things that people would be interested in reviewing and might even share with their friends. Be sure to respond to any responses you get to these emails ASAP and log the reply. So when someone writes back to one of these emails or if they call, make sure you get on that immediately and track that communication. It will become very important later. One last thing on efficient but personal lead management is Facebook. I heavily recommend adding them all as Facebook friends. Just about everybody is on Facebook, so when you get a phone call or when someone walks through the door, see if you can find them on Facebook and add them as a friend. Now, this does not mean that we're going to use Facebook to start sending things to their Facebook inbox as well. That's just going to really annoy people. Do not do that. Marketing on Facebook should be an inbound practice. What I mean is somebody that you've added as a friend will see your status updates, which could be a cool photo that you put up saying, great class today, guys. Really enjoyed having you in. Thanks for coming. A video post saying, here's a quick tip on XYZ. And from there, you just let the rest happen naturally like a conversation would. People will eventually comment or like, or they might just contact you and say, hey, I saw the video on this. Could you tell me a little bit more about, etc., etc., etc. So the goal is to get a conversation started. Also, your students might comment on your posts. And if somebody who has not signed up notices that you have a mutual friend on Facebook, that could create a great conversation between those two people. And as I'm sure all of us will agree here today, it's much better if two people that aren't involved with our business have a conversation about your studio than if it's you having a conversation with them. It's going to be more natural, and people trust other consumers more than they trust the vendors. So Facebook is a great way to get that going. And again, this is not a social media webinar, but these are just some basic pointers you can take away from it. Now, I don't want you to think that I'm asking you to make phone calls to every single lead you've ever generated on a regular basis, but I also want you to know that they're not totally out of the question. Okay? You can call them on their birthday or the week of their birthday. Just a quick happy birthday is something that everybody likes to hear. Okay? And if you're the person that does it as a studio owner, what does that say about you? It says that not only do you take great care of the people who do come to your studio, but you take great care of everybody you get in contact with. And a birthday wish is a great way to show that. Also, on milestone dates, here's an example. Hey, I just realized it's been 6 months since we first talked. I'm just curious what kind of activities you're involved with, right? Some people, they'll come down to your studio, they'll try that introductory class, and then poof, you'll never see them again. It doesn't mean they don't want to do yoga. It doesn't mean that they don't want to do yoga with you. It just means they might be a procrastinator. Life is busy, as I said earlier. So a call maybe on the 6th month anniversary, or sorry, not anniversary, but the 6 months from the first time you spoke to them is a great way to get those procrastinators to try your lessons again. If you make any major changes to your studio, if you renovate or if you change locations, this warrants also contacting people. Hey there, First Name. I just wanted to let you know we actually just did a major renovation. We're going to have a relaunch party, and I wanted to invite you. If you can make it, that would be great. It might take you a little extra time to do these personal phone calls than to just do it on Facebook and through email. But again, the phone call will go so much further. Also, if you have a system that tells you when they open the emails that you send out, once every few months you can do a little check on some of these leads, and you can see if they've been opening all of your emails or if they open a decent percentage of them. By reviewing a report like that, you may wish to call some of them. Hey, just want to check in and see how you're doing. They're going to say, well, I've actually been reading all of your emails lately. I liked that video that you sent out a few weeks ago. From there, the conversation again is natural. You're not being pushy. You're just reminding them of the benefits of yoga, and you're inviting them to come down and visit you. Also, again, invites to special events. If you have time, make a phone call instead of an email. If you don't have time, just go with the email and continue to do what you do. And again, log all details of every call you make, even if it's a voicemail. It's important for you to know when you've made a phone call to someone and left a message, because that later will trigger whether or not you call them again or if you want to delay that a bit. I just want to say one thing. These phone calls will rarely happen, or they will never happen, if you don't track the correspondence from before. What I mean is we're much less likely to call a simple name on a spreadsheet. Why would we? It's kind of weird to call people you don't know to start with. Well, if you have logs of every conversation of that introductory lesson they came to and then they never came back, at least that's going to pique your memory, and you're going to feel more comfortable making this phone call, or your staff will feel more comfortable making this phone call, and that's essential. You need to be comfortable enough to do this, otherwise people will find ways not to do it. And of course, this will never happen if we don't store the information to start with. I know a lot of people who get phone calls to their studio, or people who walk in and they don't even keep track of who those people are. So these are two things I just want you to take away from that. Okay, we're at 11:45 here, and I want it to be done by now. I just want to let you know we're pretty much 75% the way through of it. I think we'll be done in about 5 or 10 minutes, so if you need to get going, we're almost done, and I really do appreciate your company today. Okay, the next part is a simple way to improve the retention of your current students. Rate them. Now, it has nothing to do with their